Hey guys, welcome back to the RCA RR-359B restoration project. This is a very rare, very early pre-war set from around 1936-37. Last installment I got it home, and it's the next day now, and I have some time to bring it all inside. So I just got the cabinet muscled inside. So there's the label, RR-359B. The earlier version had a 9-inch CRT. B version has a 12-inch CRT, and most of them that were made, all the 12 out of the 14 that exist are the B version. Some speculation that the A or early versions were converted to Bs, but there's so little info. Geez, I don't even know a serial number. That's a drag. Because there's an online database of pre-war sets at the early television museum website, and they mention some serial numbers from these, but this one doesn't have one. We do have a tube chart, though. I'd shown briefly the big power unit chassis, and yeah, not many tubes in it. Two 5Z3s and an 878 and 879 high voltage rectifier tubes. As for the top, there you go. So this is talked about, predates TV, so there are no TV tubes. It's all radio tubes. 6D6s, 65, 6X5, 6H6, 6A6, 6A6. What I'm most curious about are two of the tubes, A305A and A306A. There's a couple of each, it looks like. I don't know what those are, other than there's some kind of experimental tube. I googled them, I got absolutely nothing. They may have evolved into a common tube, and I just got to figure out what the designator is, or maybe it was a dead end and they were made for this set and they abandoned them, and I don't know. So we got a handwritten note there that says 6 CHG 6K6. I don't know. But any tidbit of info is critical because there's so little info out there on these sets that even just a tube chart is handy. So we got a little bit of critter activity in here, I think. Or maybe that's from when it was made, I don't know. Some gunk in there. The mirror and lid set there. There would be the mirror. That's what these hinges and springs are all about. So my goal is to restore this set. And there's the electrical side of things, of course, but I think there might be as much or more work to get this cabinet restored, refinished. It was in a damp environment, and we have really bad delamination of the veneer and the core wood, which I think is solid poplar. It's not plywood. If you watch me restore a Garrett 15TZ6 about a year ago, that had similar issues on the front doors, and I diluted wood glue, got it in there, clamped it, but I think something of this significance deserves a little bit better treatment than that, so I might very well outsource this. Fred Taylor's high on my list. I imagine a number of you have heard of him. He seems to specialize in restoring rare TV and radio cabinets. In fact, I believe he did a pre-war Andrea TV not too long ago, and more recently he did a Crosley WLW radio. And he uses the traditional materials, which I really like hide glue for the veneer, and then all lacquers and toners, just like they would have done originally. Well, the main issue for me is that he's in Texas. I don't really know what it would cost, but that to me is a bit secondary with having to ship it there and back. But that's what he does, so I'm sure he would have recommendations on how to do it. So I'll reach out to him. I'll see what his schedule's like, get a quote, that kind of thing. But it's not like I need this done tomorrow, but I just wanted you to be aware of where I'm heading with this. Trying to see if I had a back on it. I don't think so. I don't see any holes around the perimeter where it would have had like a masonite or pegboard back or something like that. We do have a number here, 1037, which might very well be the serial number. Because I recall the others I saw online started with 10 as well. Like this might be the 37th one made. Or there might just be the 37th cabinet made. Which would not surprise me at all. But honestly, it's not in horrible shape. Yeah, we have the veneer separated, but it's the joints are pretty tight. It's all here. And you got the RCA television. So as the previous owner mentioned to me, if I get this refinished, they really need to take some TLC and retain that decal there. It's a very unique thing. Otherwise, it's a fairly plain cabinet. Because it was a field test unit, it was made to be tinkered with. So the panels come off, so the front panel tilts out, comes out, the chassis tilts out. I do have the grill for it. It's taken out right now. The grill cloth is a bit rough and it looks like a rather unique pattern. So that might be another thing that needs to get reproduced. The previous owner had looked into it, found somebody in Europe that I believe hand weaves grill cloth. So assuming that's still an option, I can pursue that. Otherwise, if you look around, there's no detailed molding or anything particular. We have some fluting around the top here, but nothing too elaborate. And then the most notable feature of this is the flip top. So when you watch this set, the pictures are so long back then, they didn't want to make the cabinet 3 or 4 feet deep, so they mounted them vertically. And you watch the set and the lid. Well, at least we have that. The mirror is in great shape. The mechanism is quite nice. Some very heavy-duty hinges with springs on them. Kind of counterbalances it so it swings up real nice and then it stays put wherever your position is. Alright, now I teased this in the previous video, and now you're finally going to get to see it. The chassis. So, here it is. So it is mounted in the set like this, vertically. Picture tube sits down in that cone, and we've got controls across the top. We also have controls at the front, so we've got 7 controls out the front. These 6 shafts we see here, and then the tuner. That's one of the issues with this set, is the original tuner's gone. What is sat right here. There's continuous tuning, 40 to 80 megahertz, something like that. Again, there's so little info. I don't have a schematic or any photos of what the original tuner was, and I suspect there was more than one type of tuner. I think some of the sets might have had detents, and some were continuous. It's all pure speculation at this point. Now, somebody had put a different tuner in, that's why you see the blue tags on here. And some repairs. All these orange caps are new. And I have no idea what else might have been done to it. I noticed this one cap was hanging loose. Things like this, I'm pretty sure, are not original, but I have very, very, very little to go on. So I am going to very much be at the mercy of other owners of this set, the other 3 people that are out there and the ones that are in the museum. I've heard there's a blueprint showing a schematic somewhere that somebody had at some point. I don't know. But obviously, yeah, we need something. Or since this thing wasn't even designed to work with 525 line system, if it comes down to it, I can do direct video and audio injection if I have to. And that actually might be a little bit preferable because the IF alignment and that traps, and the whole system this was designed for is not the same as what most equipment puts out. 525 line, 4.5 megahertz spacing between the audio and video carrier, that kind of thing. This is like 2.5 megahertz spacing between the audio and video carrier. It's AM sound, not FM sound. So if I made this 100% original, then I would have to make my own modulator to feed it. So we'll see. This is actually this is for both of us the first look at this chassis, because when I picked it up I just quickly put it in my vehicle. I didn't really take a good look at it. It's actually more original than I originally thought. I think just these orange caps are new, and maybe not all of them are new. Maybe that's original. I just don't think they had Sprague Atom caps in 1937. But these little terminal boards here and the dog bone resistors I'm seeing scattered around, I'm sure that's all original. So that's this side of things, but the really cool thing is the other side. But before we look at that though, see how it's got these pivot points here? So when it sits in the cabinet, it rests on those, and it's made to tip out, so you can tinker with it. And it has these very nice knobs across the top. Now I am using all the knobs for the front. I think I need to track down 6 more of these knobs. So again, and yet another challenge to either track down ideally track down originals, or fabricate, cast new ones. They do have set screws in them. Rather nice knobs, but in my somewhat limited knowledge of RCA radios, I don't recall seeing knobs like this before, so it might be unique to this set. I don't know. I'm hoping they're common and they were used in some radios and they're out there, but I really don't know at this point. I'm also curious, can we find some of those experimental tubes in here? And those are the 42s. Those drive the horizontal output. But so where are the rest of the tubes? Well, that's the fun part when we spin this thing around. Alrighty, here's the other side. So obviously the picture tube slides down in there. This cable will go to the power supply chassis. And then we have the tubes. So some of them, I think these are the 2 audio output tubes, 2A3s. Interesting, so looks like they were tested and they have writing on them. This unfortunately got a little mangled. The socket broke. I have no idea if that's original or if it's modified. There's a cutout in the chassis there, and the socket just seems to sort of be like an afterthought. No idea what's going on with that. But the cool thing, the really neat thing about this, I think, is some of these tubes are mounted lying down. I don't know how else to describe it. So you got normal tubes here with holes in the chassis and tube sockets, and they stick out at right angles, right? But some of these tubes are lying flat against the chassis. And why did they do that? Well, so again, these are old radio tubes, so we got grid caps and plates. So like if you look at these two, we got a wire coming out of this tube and going directly to the cap on that tube. They did this to minimize the lead length, minimize stray capacitance, inductance. I'm pretty sure. So how trippy is that? More of that on the other side too. One of them's mounted at an angle, I do believe. Yeah, that guy down there. It's like a 30-degree angle to the chassis. And some of them sit. So sometimes it's tube to tube, but like we have this and then this can below these. So I'm assuming there's a transformer in there. Tuned circuit. We got some writing on here. Again, we're going to document everything. So 7, 8XX, 5C. There's a little red 3, 4. So there's a red designator on everything. 22, 23, 24, 25. I don't know if those were when they were assembling this, that was a note, like quality control kind of thing, or part identifier. Maybe it was done by somebody after the fact who was modifying this. No clue. So a couple 6H6s. I'm curious what this guy is. Oh, it's a tube. It's a metal tube. Huh. I'm going to pop some of these tubes out because I'm curious to see what's actually in here. Like, especially those experimental types. And if these are the audio output, I really hope these are good because those are expensive tubes. Oh, this is going to be fun. Oh, man. I say that sarcastically. So, this socket here, it's supposed to be a 6D6, I do believe. I found an 884 in there. What the heck is an 884? I've seen these in scopes for the horizontal time base oscillator. I believe this is a gas tube, like a Thyratron. And it's typically used in a simple oscillator that produces sawtooth for deflection signals. So that isn't supposed to be there, not according to the tube chart. So I don't know what the heck is going on with that. Also realizing we're missing a bunch of tubes, so the 1V damper tube should have been in this socket. And obviously it's not there anymore. And we got missing tubes over here. And I went down and looked at what I think it should be one of those experimental tubes in this guy, and this is what I found in there. It's a tube with absolutely nothing on it. There's nothing on the base, there's no manufacturer, there's no tube part, there's absolutely nothing. Which indicates to me, yeah, this is some experimental tube, and I need to keep track of where it went and hope it's good, and I have no clue what this is, or what the later equivalent might be to it. This guy down here was a Tungsol 6F5. That's probably not the original. It's common enough. And here's a 6D6. Shoot up base a little bit. I can put this up in there. So, yes, it's been modified. And we need to figure out what was done. And for all we know, like the modification, maybe RCA did this. For this field test unit, I really don't know. And these are the audio output tubes, 2A3s. So I'll pop these guys out and test them. They're the same, so it might very well be original. Cunningham Radiotrons. Let's test those 2A3 audio output tubes. They're triodes and highly prized by the audio community and would be a bit expensive to replace. Lovely matched, probably the originals. I really hope these are good. While we wait for my tube tester to warm up, I want to show you a couple things. There is a manual of sorts that's been scanned and available for download at the Early Television Museum website. It's about 15 pages. It has some photos, describes the controls, the operation, shows the bandwidth, some of the frequencies it works at, and where the audio and the video carrier frequencies are located, and a tube locator. But this is slightly different than mine. Mine shows an A305A experimental tube in this socket and a 6D6 in this socket. So, potentially, because I'm missing this tube up here, I could move my A305A from here up to there and put a 6D6 in this socket. And I have a 6D6 in mine, and they show a 6F7 here.
So if I get the schematic, just if there's any changes to the wiring of the sockets or component values around here, perhaps I can do a little bit of swappage. Don't know. There's a little shadow there with this 76 at a crazy angle. That would be my tuner that is missing. There is a bit of a schematic, courtesy of Daryl Hawk, who's one of the other owners of one of these sets that I'm going to be reaching out to. It's tantalizing. It's a partial schematic. It's cropped off at the bottom and on the left here. 0 component values. So we really can't do anything with this, but it gives us some sense of it. We have, see there's 3 power transformers, some filter chokes, see the rectifier tubes, but no capacitor values, no resistor values, nothing about this. But you can see here's the power supply, here's an oscillator, here's the 242s driving the horizontal yoke winding and the 1V4 tube used for the damper, but we can't, this is nowhere near sufficient to actually work on the set, but it's something. Alright, let's check out the 2A3. My scroller doesn't work too well, so I have this printout here. It's a 2A3 2.5 JR-3200 JR-3200. It's only a triode, so there aren't too many elements to set up. At 68 and 81, somebody asked me in a comment the other day, what is the English control mean? Why do they call it English? It's literally what that means is if you set the English control so that you can read the readings in English, which means you look at replace and good. And you can forget about the numbers. Just look at the words. If it's in the green, it's good. If it's in the red, it's bad. That's what the English does for you. If instead of that, there's little orange dots on here, if you set those, then you can read the micromos value. And you may have to look at a tube manual to see what is the valid micromo range for this tube to be considered good. So that's a convenience for you. It's setting it so you can do good, bad, or if you use one of the calibration reference points, you can use the lower scale and read the actual number. We're going to use the English scale. Alright, so let's pop this guy in. That's not good. I don't see any filament glow. Oh yeah, there it goes. Boy, it's dim. The tube's also filthy. It's not helping matters. I can't honestly say I've ever seen one of these lit up, so I don't know how bright they're supposed to be, but it seems dim. Well, anyways, let's proceed. So no shorts. Hey! That looks good. Alrighty. Maybe it just take a long time to warm up. I don't see this one glowing either. I'll let this guy sit a bit on the tester. It's getting warm. Clean it off a little bit with some Windex here. There's no printing on this tube envelope. The type is stamped in the base, so I'm not going to be removing any labels or anything. Just thinking maybe I can see the filament glow a little bit better if I clean it off. Plus, very pretty tubes. Yeah, doesn't help that I have really bright shop lights going on, but yeah, I can see it faintly glowing orange down in there. Alrighty, so no shorts and measures off the chart. So what does that mean? I see that question asked a lot. Sometimes with beam power type tubes, yeah, the reading will go off the chart. Does it mean it's a super good tube? Potentially.
Remember, tube testers are not the be-all, end-all. They don't put exactly the same operating conditions that you're going to find in whatever device it goes into. It's sort of a general ballpark idea. We have filament. We don't have any shorts. It has gain. They'll work. All right, I'm going to leave off here because I have a whole lot more to talk about, and this is going to end up being a very long video, so I'm going to split it in half. Next part, we're going to talk more about the chassis, take a closer look at them, and I'm going to go into depth about what am I going to do in this project. What are my next steps? What are the challenges? Leave you with one final thing. I do have a Patreon account. I don't plug it too much, but I am going to now. Link in the description. I've been talking about this set for a few weeks there before I decided to make this purchase. I've been posting a lot of photos and links, documents as I've been doing my research and finding out more info. If you want to know more about this project, if you want to follow along, I would ask that you join for as little as $1 a month. More is appreciated. It helps fund the project, and I hope it engages more with you, and you'll see there's a community there, and you can chat with each other, and again, there's a lot more info on that site. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching.